Hello friend, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to do part 2 of 7 utility plugins that you should have if you're a serious mixer or serious about mixing. Now, if you didn't see part 1 where I talked about 7 plugins that I thought everyone should have, utility style plugins, things that you won't use on every single mix, but you're going to need them sooner or later and you want to have them in your toolkit, click the link in the description box. It'll bring you out to part 1. This is part 2. Thanks for all the comments you left on part 1. It was really cool. Some of you guys had mentioned some plugins that I did not show, but I do have, and we're going to talk about those today. So like, share, subscribe, hit the button, and all of that stuff. Okay, now we're not going to demo each one of the plugins because almost every one of these plugins already has a demo on my channels. And if it doesn't, there will be one coming soon, sometime in 2025. I'm just going to show you the plugins. So the first plugin up. If you're serious about mixing, you should have a plugin such as this. This is the Trident trimeter. So it's a meter plugin. Now, every DAW comes with some kind of VU meter plugin, typically. Some are better than others. The ones that come with my DAW Studio One, I'm not really crazy about, and I don't feel they're very accurate. This is a wonderful plugin by Trident. It's really inexpensive. I think it's less than $20 US. And what I love about this is before you start doing anything, putting plugins in your session, or if you're running with analog, running stuff out to your console or hardware, whatnot, you want to make sure that your gain staging is right. And this is great for gain staging, where you can calibrate things to -8 or -18, which is kind of the sweet spot, especially when you're using analog gear like I do. And this is a really great plugin. And what I love about this, not only will it tell you whether you need to turn up the gain or turn down the gain, but you can also do that right from the plugin here with the output, plus or minus 18 dB, which is really cool. Most of the VU meter plugins that come with the DAW standard, like Studio One, for example, I don't believe you can turn the gain up or down. You actually have to use clip gain or use a separate plugin or go to the actual audio event or region and turn it up there, which works. But this one you can do right inside the plugin. I find it super accurate. I use it on every single mix. It's the first plugin at the top of my insert chain, whether I'm working on the box or working with hardware or a combination of both, to make sure that the tracks that were recorded are hitting the sweet spot of my plugins and or my equipment. So the Trident trimeter plugin. I'll link all these plugins, by the way, in the description box, and I'm not affiliated with any of them. They're not affiliate links. I'm just sharing information with you. Okay, so you want to have a good VU meter plugin. The second plugin up is one that was mentioned. It actually came out 2 days or so after I had published the first part 1 of this series, the 7 utility plugins I mentioned earlier. This came out. This is by Waves, called Curves Equator. Now, this is similar to Soothe 2, which I'm going to show you in a second, where it helps you reduce and take out any resonant frequencies. It's really good at that type of thing. But what I love about this one over Soothe 2 is that it has a learn function, an AI learn function, where you can actually play your track, it will listen to it, and then it will suggest what curves to put in, where to cut, where to boost, and those kinds of things. And you can adjust it from there. It's got a basic set of controls at the bottom, and it has an advanced set of controls as well if you want to use those. But this is great if you have, like, you know, a harsh track, maybe harsh cymbals on overheads. I use it quite a bit. Or harsh guitars, like distorted electric guitars that are really kind of ear piercing. That could be really helpful. Or vocals that sound really boomy or have a lot of nasally effect. This is a wonderful plugin. I haven't used this as much as Soothe, but I've used this a few times with really good results. So again, is it something I use on every single mix? Not every single mix, but more mixes than I don't use it on. Wonderful utility plugin. And again, if it's Waves, if you got the subscription package, it comes for free. If not, you probably can buy it for less than 50 bucks. Great utility plugin. The next plugin up, we just mentioned it, is Soothe 2 by Oki Sound, which is kind of the, up until at least Waves Curves Equator. And again, I know they're slightly different. They got little different features, but they basically do the same thing. This was kind of the most popular one that's out there, and I use this a bunch. Now, the one thing I will say about this one that I like is the presets that they have. The presets are wonderful. They got a ton of presets, and they're very good presets. They're very usable, that I find in most cases I only need to do a very slight amount of tweaking to. So I really like this for that. What I don't like about this one compared to the Waves plugin we just talked about is the fact that there's no AI function as far as listening to your track and kind of recommending. Man, you can choose to like that or not like that. This tends to have a little bit more control over some of the parameters, but this I've used, again, wonderful plugin that I use, again, more times than not. Anything that sounds harsh or boomy or muddy or whatever, this can really, really help. And this is, I don't know if this is an industry standard, but I know a lot of engineers love this plugin. So check this one out. This one is probably a little bit more expensive than the Waves one. I don't know how much it costs as I sit here. I think I probably bought this around a Black Friday sale every year and probably paid less than $100 for it, but it's one of those utility plugins. If you're serious about mixing, I really think you should have. Hey there, friend. I hope you're loving the video. Guess what? We're now in 2025 and I have some super exciting news to share with you. I'm officially accepting new clients for mixing and I'm on the lookout for talented artists just like you. Head on over to mixingmusicanalog.com. The link will be in the description box below to check out some of my latest work. Once you've had a look around, shoot me an email and let's schedule a Zoom call to chat about your music and how we could take it to the next level. Now let's get back to the video. Next plugin is a fairly new plugin to me and a fairly new company of plugins that I use. This is by Neuro Audio and this is called X-Rider. This is their competitor is the well-known and famous Vocal Rider by Waves that I also have, that I would use a lot. This is probably the new updated or new improved version of that kind of technology. What I love about this is the fact that when you play back your vocal track, you can actually see the audio coming in the waveforms in the graphic, which helps you better, I feel, line up where you want the X-Rider to kind of work. And it does a really good job. So this is a plugin that, honest to God, I use this on almost every single vocal, no matter how it was recorded, because vocals are super dynamic. And what I love about this, if you have an overly dynamic vocal, this can help level out that performance as like the first plugin in my insert chain before I hit my first stage of compression. Right? So I can level it off a little bit. So when I'm hitting that compressor, it's working a little less hard and a little more even. And especially if you have, certain phrases and verses where they're very, very kind of quiet and they build up and they're super dynamic, this is a wonderful plugin. Now, how does this work compared to, say, Waves Vocal Rider? Because I've used Waves Vocal Rider an awful lot as well. And that works really well. That seems to be a little bit more finicky for me. I find this one to be better, and I just think it's because the algorithms and such in this Neuro Audio stuff, it's all brand new, like in the last year technology, where the Waves Vocal Rider is an older plugin. This seems to be a little bit more easy to dial in, a little bit more consistent to me. And again, they have another company that the more I'm using their plugins, I'm finding have, again, a wonderful set of presets that are really, really usable and accurate. And this just has more visual feedback. So some kind of a vocal rider, I think, is essential for every mixer, regardless of how well or not so well the vocal is performed. This is a great plugin you want to have in your toolkit. Okay, couple more plugins. Next plugin, this was mentioned after in the comment section of the last video, part 1. I didn't show this, but I did own it at the time. This is a drum gate. This is by Black Salt Audio called Silencer. Now, in the last video, part 1, I mentioned Sonic's drum gate, which I still think is a little bit better than this one, but this one is way more affordable, and this one will get the job done 95% of the time. The only time I find that Black Salt Audio Silencer isn't as good as the Sonic is when you have an extreme amount of bleed, where, let's say, for example, extreme amount of hi-hat bleed in a snare mic. You can get rid of the hi-hat bleed in Silencer, but then it chokes off the snare and you lose some of the ring and sustain of the snare that you can adjust with the length control here, which does work to some degree. But I will say in most cases, the Sonic's drum gate does that a little bit better. It gives you a little bit more control over the decay of the drum, where you can pick the frequency points and it's all movable, where this really isn't. This is just kind of a dial it up, dial it down. But it's about a third of the price, maybe even a fourth of the price if you pay full price for both. I think this is 60 bucks. And Sonic's drum gate, that's a couple of $100, maybe more than that, although I bought it on sale for like $60 from Plug-in Boutique, where they had a sale on it, and I picked it up. So if you're looking for a good drum gate and you don't want to spend $100 or more, this is a really good one. This is a really good one. I do have a demo on one of my channels for it, but you need to have a drum gate of some kind. The only other one beyond this gate that I really thought was pretty good was the Slate Digital drum gate in their VMR, the virtual mix rack. That was my go-to until I got Sonics and until I got this. Now I either use one of the other. If it doesn't have an extreme amount of bleed, I'll use this one because it does work 95% of the time. If I got too much bleed and I don't want to choke off the drum and I need more control over the decay, then Sonic is the way to go. So that is Black Salt Audio Silencer. Wonderful plugin. And the last plugin, and the reason why it's last is because not everybody has access to this, unfortunately. This is an oldie but a goodie. It's a secret weapon that I do use on every single mix. I don't even know if you would consider it a utility plugin that you only need when you have a problem, but this is a plugin that if you're a universal audio user, and I'm not talking about the Spark, the native plugins, because this is not native yet, but if you have an Apollo interface or one of the UAD2 satellites from back in the day, this is a plugin that I put on my master bus and use in every single mix. This is called the K-Stereo Ambient Recovery by the legendary mastering engineer and collaboration Bob Katz. Now what this does, and I've done videos of this on the channel, you can search my channel for it. I'll try to link it if I remember in the description box. It's an ambient recovery, but it really acts a little bit more like a stereo widener. So basically what it does is I put it on the master bus, is probably one of the last things in my master bus chain, maybe before tape and whatnot. And even though you may have reverb and delay inside of your session, but then you're hitting compressors and stuff along the way, and sometimes you lose some of that ambient, this will add some of that stuff back in. It's kind of hard to describe to you what it really does or sounds like, except for I'll tell you that when you hear it, it almost sounds like it lifts up the track and kind of pushes it out like a widener just a little bit and gives it a little bit more 3-dimension. Ambient recovery, a little bit more ambience. You'd have to read the manual on this. There's a couple of really cool presets in here that's really great. Again, I think it's a relatively inexpensive plugin because it's been around for probably more than 15 years with Universal Audio. It's probably around $100 US, give or take. But again, I would wait till it goes on sale. But once again, as I sit here and record this video in the middle or beginning of January 2025, this is not a native plugin that you can get as part of the Spark package. Maybe one day it will be, who knows? My guess is probably not anytime soon. It's one of those plugins that you have to have hardware to run on the DSP, and it's a plugin I don't hear people talking a lot about. But I got hip to this many years ago and I use it all the time. And it puts a little bit of a finishing touch on the mix. So if you have Universal Audio and you have the hardware and you have DSP plugins, go demo this. I think you'll find it's a cool secret weapon, and you can watch the video on my channel and see how I demo it. So those are, I believe, 7, like I counted 7 more utility plugins that, again, if you're serious about mixing, you should have in your toolkit. I use most of these plugins, as I said, more times than not. If you missed part 1, click the link in the description and go check out part 1, and let me know in the comments below, what other utility plugins do you guys feel that you use from time to time that is really beneficial to you? Let me know in the comments below. I always like to learn from you guys, and if enough ideas come up for a part 3, maybe at one time we will do a part 3. So thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. Make sure you go out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. I got that free mixing course right on the website. It's a $100 course, absolutely free. It's my gift to you just for visiting homerecordingmadeeasy.com, and there's also a coupon code in the description box below where you can take 25% off any mixing course on the website. So until the next video where we take a look at some more cool plugins, I've been Dave with both Home Recording Made Easy and MixingMusicAnalog.com. Thank you so much for watching me, everybody. I'll see you in the next video.